All right, so good evening, everybody. I am Quinn Hegarty. I'm an internship and career advisor in the Career Center here at Columbia College Chicago, and I'm so glad that you have joined us tonight for Stay Booked with Phil Tyler. So I was first introduced to Phil when I saw him give an amazing keynote in person, back when that was happening more, back in February at Columbia, and I'm so excited and grateful that he has joined us tonight. Phil is a native of Chicago, but for the past 13 plus years, he has been working consistently in Los Angeles. And he's had every film, TV, production job that you can imagine, from working as a production assistant to a first assistant director, to a director and producer, and everything in between. He's worked for ABC, NBC, CBS, Cartoon Network, Fox, Nickelodeon, and VH1. So he has really been on and off screen, behind and in front of the camera. Just a few of the TV shows he's worked on, been on, have been Chicago PD, The Goldbergs, CSI, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Marvel, Jane the Virgin, and he's currently recurring on Next, a sci-fi action series on Fox. He also did his own stunts in Venom opposite Tom Hardy. So that is just like, I wasn't even giving all of the credits. That was like a little sampling. So that's what we're all here for tonight. We're also going to be taking audience questions at the end of tonight's discussion. So please type your questions into the chat anytime. I will be watching the chat for them, and we will get to as many questions as we can. Just a reminder as well to keep your video and sound off, and just type everything into the chat. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our wonderful Columbia student moderators, who I'm also so grateful to for donating their time and talent to be with us in this discussion, Isaiah Colbert and Anisa Selenica.
Hi. So my name is Isaiah Colbert. I'm a staff reporter over at the Columbia Chronicle, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys, and pleasure to be hosting the panel with Anissa as well as Quinn.
Hi, my name is Anisa Selenica. I am majoring in television writing and producing, and I am also working for Frequency TV as a content producer, so I'm really honored to be here tonight.
And I'm Phil Tyler, and I just want to say thank you again for having me, and looking forward to answering all your questions and helping however I can.
All right, so Phil, what inspired you to be in the film industry?
There was a movie called Hollywood Shuffle, directed, written, starring, produced by Robert Townsend. And watching this film, I didn't see a lot of positive representation of myself. And I saw this film, and here was an actor going through so many different things and wanting to create films that inspired and spoke to him and resonated with him, and that had his truth. And unfortunately, his walk wasn't as open and receptive to his vision. He got denied all the time, and there were only certain roles that he could play that was stereotypical and just mindless. So to see a film like this take comedy and speak on something that needed to be highlighted, especially in the industry during that time, and make it an adventure, and you have all these different fun characters that are colliding on the screen. And this man not only wrote it, he produced it, directed it, starred in it, and funded it himself with credit cards, which was unheard of. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, I want to do what he does. So that was my first introduction, and just, I was hooked. After Hollywood Shuffle, I was hooked.
Awesome.
And so obviously, as you mentioned, being inspired by Townsend, who's like beyond a triple threat when it comes to all the things that he does.
Yes.
I wanted to sort of run through, because you've become that yourself as well. So I sort of wanted to ask you to sort of run us through your journey since graduating from Columbia and being in the industry, and how did Columbia help prepare you for what was kind of unexpected with that transition?
Absolutely. So I'll go a little bit just before Columbia. The reason why I started going to Columbia College was because back in the day I used to model, and I was on this silly show called Hot or Not on ABC. Horrible reality TV. But it took me from Chicago to LA. So I got to LA for the first time, my first taste of Hollywood, and we're taking a break from the show. They had us stay in at the Sheraton, which was located at Universal Studios. So we would go to Universal City Walk and just explore. There was this comedy club, the John Levitt's Comedy Club, and I wanted to check it out. You know, comedy is always in my heart. So I go in, and Robert Townsend is doing stand up. And this is like, oh my God, this is my pursuit of happiness. This is the person that inspires me. I have to ask them every question imaginable. So I went in, I saw the comedy show. He was hilarious. After the show, I hunted him down. I asked him so many questions. And the most important question was, how do I do what you do? And at the time I was 17, about to become 18. And he said, well, where are you going for school? And I was originally going to go to USC because I had a track scholarship. And his words were, don't get lost in the shuffle. Go to a school where they care about you. You'll have the one-on-one education. You won't just be a number, but they actually care about your education and where you're trying to go. And he recommended Columbia College because I was from Chicago. So going to Columbia and being a part of that Columbia family base is amazing. And I say family, and I mean it honestly, because about, I'd say 12 to 15 of my classmates are out in LA doing amazing, and we're all connected. We've all helped each other with each other's projects. We're all producers, directors, writers. One of my closest friends, I just got done working on his film, and I was his second assistant director, and also the stunt coordinator. And he's directed Canal Street, and he's a Columbia College alum. We have another Columbia College alum that's the writer on NCIS Los Angeles. Like, all these are really awesome people that I went to school with that are doing great in the industry. And I would have never had that experience and that bond and that connection with the core group that I have if I never went to Columbia College. I think by it being a smaller school, it helps you where everyone knows everyone. And the care and concern is there versus this big university where you're just a number and you will get lost in the shuffle.
And so when it comes to the roles that you do, what do you kind of look for in those types of roles that you take on, either in front of and behind the camera for shows and films?
Absolutely. When I look at a project to take on or a role, it has to be honest and true and resonate with myself. Not in a selfish way, but the reason why I need it to be honest and true to me is so that I can do it due diligence. And by me knowing how I perceive the world, the world speaks to me, when I put my heart and soul into a role or a project, that way I know that I'm giving it my all. I can't speak on anything that I don't know about. And even though it's called acting, it has to be real. It has to come from a place of truth. And if it doesn't, it'll show and everybody will see it, and it's not going to be good. So truth and honesty is what I look for when I'm going to a project or a role. For example, I love stories that challenge you to see beyond where you're at. But I can't tell a story of a country boy from, Iowa growing up on the farm. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't know anything about that. I can tell you about a city boy growing up in Chicago. So these are the things that I look for that are just basically honest.
That's amazing. So, since you direct a lot, and you're a stunt coordinator, how does your directing job differ from your stunt jobs? Can you direct stunts based on your experience?
I actually get a lot of directing jobs for stunts. Because of my stunt background, I get directed. I get hired to be the second unit director. So while the director is directing the main cast, when it comes to stunts and everything else, then I'll take over. If they have any questions about character development and everything else, then the actual director would guide them. But when it comes to the physicality of the fight choreography or how to hold a gun or any of the physicalities that go into the stunts, I'm directing that. I'm directing camera, I'm directing everything else. And my background with stunts, I'm also a martial artist. So anything action packed and comedy, like that's my love language. So, but I can come on as just a coordinator as well and not be a director.
And so, since being in the industry yourself, I wanted to ask, what are kind of the biggest changes that you've sort of witnessed within the industry since you've started, either for best or for worst? And where would you like to see the industry in the next couple of years?
Absolutely. I think the industry has, not trying to be boastful at all, but I think the industry has taken a page out of my book as far as being more honest and true, and telling stories that resonate with others, not just a certain group of people. I remember, like I said, when I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of positive roles for myself. You were either a cop or a crook. And granted, I play a lot of cops and crooks. I'm still trying to break the mold, and there are more diverse roles for me. I love that there are shows like Sense8 that was on Netflix that showed diversity and not just a cultural sense, but in sexuality. It resonated with a truth that I was never exposed to. So it's good to see these stories that you don't grow up knowing. You it's not a part of you, but you're introduced to a new world so that you can be open and receptive. A lot of people have a lack of tolerance, and the industry, as you see it, has grown to be more open and receptive to new ideas, new ways of life, imagery of people, where before it was like the industry back in the day, there was no culture. If there was a show and they wanted Black people, they would put blackout on the white person's face. Or if it was cowboys and Indians, they would not have any Native American actors. They would just put red paint on their face. Like, as crazy as that sounds, that's how the industry used to be. And now you look at it and it's so open, it's so free, so accepting. And I love the way that it's going.
So, since you mentioned that your roles seemed limited, Were there any moments in your life where you second guessed your career choice, and how did you convince yourself that the film industry was your calling?
I had to, so when I first got started, I thought that there was a way of doing things, right? So my focus was directing. So I had to start at the bottom, start as a PA, then a coordinator, then a production manager, then a line producer, then a producer, and then assistant director, same thing. Assistant director, second AD, first AD, directing, right? So I went through the whole production scale thinking that that's where I had to go. And yes, it's a part of the process. However, you have to be willing to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. I always want to work in the industry. It doesn't matter whether I'm in front of the camera or behind the camera. If I'm on set, I'm in heaven. And I know that that's a privilege. Understanding that that's a privilege allows me to be flexible in the jobs that I take. But I want to make sure that I'm knowledgeable enough to be able to take different jobs so that I'm constantly working. So even though I am a director, even though I am a producer, on those days where I can't find a producer and a directing job, I have the humility to say, okay, I'm willing to take a coordinating job, or I'm willing to be a production manager. And even if it's a rainy day and there's no work but PA work, sometimes you got to pay your bills. You got to do what you got to do. So being humble helps when you want longevity, especially in this industry. A lot of people are boastful and entitled and think that once they have a certain status that they have to keep it and maintain it. It's a beautiful thing to be able to keep it and maintain it. But if you understand circumstances, and especially the way the world works, 1 minute, every production is going hot. Next minute, there's no work at all. So you have to get in where you fit in.
And I had a quick follow-up along with Anissa's question that I wanted to ask. Is there a difference between the sort of like cultures in the industry in Chicago as opposed to LA?
Extremely different. Extremely different. I love Chicago. I was so happy. It was weird. It was bittersweet. So I came back to Chicago to take care of my mom. Love my mom to death. So I wanted to be here for her. And I was kind of indecisive about coming home, especially for the industry, because I left because there were not a lot of opportunities outside of theater in Chicago. So I come back and there's so many opportunities here. And not only that, but because Chicago is Chicago, when they see that you have good work ethic, someone's always watching you. Even if you feel like no one's watching you, no one's paying attention to you, somebody has their eyes on you. So always be prepared. Always give it your best, no matter what you're doing. You can be taking out some trash. Like if you take out trash with the best attitude, you won't be taking out trash for long. Okay. So coming back to Chicago and still having that, Chicago attitude that, nothing's going to stop me. A lot of people have been gravitating towards me and saying, hey, I want you to work with this. I want you to work on this project. Hey, I got a project for you. I've been given 4 scripts in the last 2 weeks to read and pick what I want to do as far as stunt coordinating and acting. And I'll get paid twice. So that's a good thing too. So you got to make sure that you know where you're at and the network. In LA, it's very cliquey. LA, they don't care about your work ethic or anything else. If somebody else says that you're good, then you're good, which is bittersweet. So for me, working out in LA, when people would give me the referral, it's because I've earned it, because I've worked hard. People see that. But there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is my friend from way back when, give them a job. And then they'll have a job but not know what they're doing. And it's kind of frustrating working with some people that aren't aware of the job, but they just got the job because they know somebody that knows somebody. It's a different culture out in LA. The work ethic is not as dominant. So that's why going out to LA, Columbia College like cleans up every production I've ever worked on in LA. There's always 4 or more people from Columbia College that are just kicking butt. So I'm very fortunate to have gone to Columbia.
So another question I have for you, usually when there's like a kind of a career advice kind of a scenario, usually the person who's giving the advice kind of gives advice that are a little bit more kind of a bit of platitudes where they say stay dedicated or to stay driven, and like it's not really a concrete kind of career navigation tips. So what I wanted to ask you was what tips would you give Columbia students who are hoping to enter the film industry?
Find your group now. Find your core group of people that are passionate just like you, that are your friends, that have not only the same interests, but actually care about you, that are supporting you and you're supporting them and you're being creative. Just find that group and stick with them and grow with them. And you push each other to be better. That's what happened with me. My group out in LA, we're all pushing each other and we're all successful and we're all constantly working. And if we're not working, we're working on each other's projects. So if you're in the film industry, right? So your focus is film, you're a director. Find your producers, find those creative producers that are just network people that bring the right people together in order to get stuff done. Okay, find yourself a good AD that knows how to control a set. Okay, find yourself a cinematographer that knows how to capture everything, a good editor that understands. Find somebody that can do it all. If you find an editor that can shoot and can light, come on, like find your team. Okay, if you're an actor, okay, get with the film. Like this is something that I thought was not taught to us that we should have done, especially at Columbia. Film department, theater department, get together. It only makes sense, right? It only makes sense because it makes, why get actors from your film class that aren't actors? Just go to the theater department, get some amazing actors and work with them. Okay, find your group. No one told me to find my group. If you find your group now, come on. I mean, look at Adam Sandler. Every movie Adam Sandler makes, all his friends are in it. Okay, that's all he's doing is getting paid to make movies with his friends. That's a beautiful thing.
So another question that I wanted to ask, especially given the topicalness of us being in a Zoom call currently, I wanted to ask, how has COVID affected your work?
Drastically. You know, I'm still working, but it's not as much as I used to be. COVID is affecting everybody, and we have to be smart about it. But I am fortunate that I'm a part of a union that makes sure that safety is first. So when we are on set, everyone's wearing masks. Every 2 hours, we're sanitizing hands. All the safety protocols that need to be in place in order for us to make sure that we are safe and stay alive are in place. So take it seriously. This is a very scary time where if you don't follow these safety protocols, you won't be here anymore. And that's scary. So being able to adapt and just do what you have to do in order to A, survive, and B, keep working and have a positive attitude, while you're doing it, then you're good to go. People like working with people that they like. If they don't like you, they're not going to bring you around. And that's just a basic principle that I learned from working with Dwayne Johnson. I picked his brain too. Like, I have a list of amazing people that I'm like, I want to work with them. And that's another thing. Keep that in your head. Always keep in mind where you want to go, who you want to work with, things you want to do, and never let that go. Never let it go until you achieve it.
Phil, I know that I heard you talk about your experience meeting Dwayne Johnson, and he gave you some advice, right?
Yeah. That was the advice. I asked him. I told him about when I was younger. I went to Vegas, and those booths where you can put your face on somebody else's body. So I put my face on Dwayne Johnson's body, The Rock, and I told him about that. He's like, first of all, you're making me feel really old. And then he told me to keep pushing forward. No matter what it looks like, keep pushing forward. People like working with people that they like. Show up and do what you say you can do. If you say you can do something, do it. Be on time. Okay, and that's the bottom line. That's straight from The Rock. And he's doing amazing. So yeah, you're gonna listen to his advice.
To follow up on Isaiah's question, with COVID, how could students like us network online?
So you have different social media platforms that are there for you, and you're already stepping forward by attending this Zoom, right? So you have a network right here. If I were you all, I would be putting my email address and any contact information, like email address, contact information, what you're interested in, and build your network right here. Everyone here that's on this call, hey, let's get together, let's brainstorm, let's figure something out. If you have show ideas, if you have script ideas for features, whatever, let's get together, let's figure it out. How do we figure it out? How do we brainstorm together? Like right now, we're having a great conversation, but we could be doing a lot of productive things on top of this as a team, right?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's so many sites that you can apply for work. There's Mandy.com. There's different media arts programs. You can even get grants right now. Excuse me. You can even get grants right now for different film projects. If you wanted to start your own film festival and do it online like this, you can have a film festival and have it all done via Zoom, okay? And get grants for that, get funded for that. So it's all about finding opportunities. Don't wait for people to tell you, this is what you do, this is what you do. No, go out and find the information. We're talking on, this is the internet, people. Like, you have endless information at your fingertips. Go out and get it, okay?
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I'm inspired. I think we're all gonna start a film production company together right here.
There we go.
We're gonna call it the Stay Booked Productions.
Stay booked and get it done.
Absolutely. So we do have some audience questions. So I just sent those to Anisa and Isaiah, but I'll start off with one that I think is really good because we do have some actors in the chat, and I think we're getting some acting, theater major related questions as well.
There we go.
So how do you have a good, memorable audition?
This is how. Eye contact. A lot of people are scared to look at the casting director. Look at the casting director and have a relationship in whatever character you're in, and make that casting director feel everything. Do not take your eyes off that casting director and just make them feel it. I'm here with you right now. Have fun. Make that connection and don't let it go. You'll know, because as soon as you're done, that casting director will give you the same energy back.
Awesome. Yeah, I felt it for sure.
Another question from the audience was, how have you managed to have such a diverse career and not get pigeonholed?
I refuse to be pigeonholed. I don't let people keep me in a corner. Nobody puts a baby in a corner. I've had roles thrown at me and they're like, no, this is perfect for you. But they have no idea that it's not. It just doesn't fit me. And because it doesn't fit me, I won't accept it. Mm-hmm. And for example, there was a role that was physically demanding and emotionally demanding. And it also didn't resonate with my sexuality. Now, I didn't accept the role because it didn't resonate with my truth. It's not that I didn't accept the role because I don't agree with the lifestyle. The lifestyle is not mine, so I can't portray that honestly. So that's why I didn't accept that role. And I got so much crap for not taking that role. But it wasn't my truth. And it's not my truth. I can't portray that. And if I can't portray that, I can't make it real. If I can't make it real, I'm doing it a disservice. Okay? I want to make sure that every role I portray, I'm doing it a service. I'm making sure that I'm speaking to whoever this role connects to. And I have to be honest about it. So for me, I make sure that everything I go after is something that just resonates with me. So that keeps me from being put in a certain corner because I'm taking control.
And another audience question that we got is, what other jobs besides acting can an actor take within the industry?
You could do everything that I'm doing. As an actor, you want to be on set, right? So directors and producers love actors that have set etiquette, okay? You're not just an actor, but you know how to behave on set. You know how to respect the set. You know how to be patient and understanding when things don't go according to plan, right? So if you, as an actor, were to start as a production assistant, then not only are you learning set etiquette, but you're also getting the vibe of being on set, and you're still working towards your goal because you're making sure that financially you're sustaining yourself. So if I were you as an actor, I would get into stuff that helps you to always be on set and working towards your goal. If you're an actor and you want to be an action star, you might want to do some stunts. You might want to take your time and try to figure out some martial arts, some hand-to-hand combat, weapon training, stage combat. You know, I took stage combat at Columbia College too, and that David was amazing. David's still there kicking butt. Okay, like
That stage combat experience gives our students a pretty big advantage in a lot of cases.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We started our stunt team at Columbia College, and then we started filming all our own little projects with like this hardcore action. So again, but we did that ourselves. We did ourselves. Like the stuff that I did at Columbia College got me job working for Bandito Brothers. Bandito Brothers was the production company that Act of Valor, where they hired actual Navy SEALs to portray all these characters. So, you know, it's endless opportunities at Columbia. You know, I know everything's rough right now because of COVID, but because you're home, you have nothing but time to be creative. You have nothing but time to find a way to have this outlet. So get it done. No excuses. I will find you.
So another audience question is, what are some networking techniques that you wish you had known as a student?
Don't be scared to talk. In order to network, you have to open your mouth. At Columbia College, it was just a natural melting pot, but you didn't really have that fear or temptation of messing up because you talk to somebody. We're all students, so it's like, hey, what's up? How's it going? What do you do? Okay, let's hang out. Let's figure something else out. But when you get out into the real world, you have to be able to present yourself and know who you are and have confidence in who you are when you're talking to someone else. You have to be able to have talking points without talking all this blah, 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 blah. Get straight to the point, know exactly what you want to talk about, know who you're networking with, and then move on. Build that network, move on to the next person. You have to find these little core groups and build from there. Right now, we have this platform, right? Zoom. So look into Zoom meetings where you can find people that have the same core values, same interests, and then talk it out like this, right? Like my friend has nothing to do with the industry, but my friend was looking for something to do because they're so secluded from the world and they love Tim Burton. So I found them a trivia Zoom meeting on Tim Burton films. And they're going to check that out on the 30th. But there's opportunities like that, you know, so get connected.
Fantastic. I think we've gotten to the end of our audience questions. We've had a pretty curious audience full of performers for sure. Phil, I just kind of wanted to, thank you again. I wanted to ask you kind of a final question, which is just kind of a fun one. Like, for you thinking about it, like if you could either have like a dream movie to produce and direct or a dream role to play, what would it be? Unlimited budget too, imagination is
unlimited budget. Well, I already have this script that I wrote with my buddy, and we went to Comic-Con in 2016, and we shot a proof of concept trailer. And everybody really digged the trailer. So if I had like an endless budget, I would make that film. That film is something that I actually created for my buddy because he was down on his luck as far as his acting career. And I saw the quality that he has as an actor. He's an amazing actor and star quality actor. So I said, listen, I'm gonna write this script and you're gonna be the star. And we're gonna get it done. So we shot the trailer and the trailer was great and everybody loves it. And I think that this film has everything. It has comedy, it has action, it has suspense, sci-fi. So yeah, I make that project that I already have in the back burner.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool. Well, Phil, how can we like keep up with what you're doing?
Email me. I'm not shy. I reply to emails. You know, as Q knows, if you email me and you want to pick my brain, come on. I have no problems helping out. If I can, I will.
It's true. Yeah. And then what's your email? Do you mind if I just put it in?
Yeah, just put it in for everybody. It's booking, BOOKING, .phil, PHIL, Tyler, TYLER, @gmail.com.
Awesome. Fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm expecting everybody who's doing all this networking and stuff. First of all, you know, if you are looking for an actor, if you're looking for a post-production colorist, if you are looking for a PA or a stage manager, we've got all of those in the chat here. So before we sign off, I would just recommend everybody copy and paste this whole chat.
Yes, absolutely. Network. And I'm definitely always looking for a good colorist. I think that is underrated and definitely need a good colorist. So email me.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you everybody for, you know, really networking in here and taking that initiative for sure. Again, you know, so tonight's event was put on by the Career Center. So I'm going to put my email in. Myself and Chaka Reeves, who is also our wonderful internship and career advisor for cinema, was here. I'm a career advisor for cinema and television, as well as theater and dance. So I kind of try to blend those two worlds of theater and cinema and bring them together in events like this. But you know, we would love to meet with you one-on-one. We'd love to have you at further events like this at the Career Center. But you know, if you want to meet with us and really get that, like, you know, one-on-one individualized career plan worked out, or if you say, hey, I have a project I want to pitch to Phil, like how do I write a real professional networking email, anything like that, you know, you can meet with either of us. So I'll put my info in here. So I'm Quinn Hegarty, and then Chaka is our other cinema advisor. She actually just got back from her honeymoon, which is very exciting. But yeah,
I'm also going to be doing one-on-ones as far as career advice with the SIA conference where we met.
The C conference, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I think let me put the link for the C conference in there real quick so everybody can see it. So the C conference is the Self-Employment in the Arts Conference, and it's a fantastic conference. You know, just by the fact that they booked a keynote speaker like Phil, but you know, it's about you know, making your living as a creative talent. So how do you actually sustainably employ yourself as a creative? And it's not as impossible as it sounds, but there are a lot of things that you need to know, and there's a lot of mindsets that you can put yourself to be a little bit more you know, geared towards that. But yeah, so I just put the link in there, and it's going to be obviously all online. But the advantage of that is that like you can get one-on-one FaceTime with experts and people who have like really made it in their industry.
Yeah, we're gonna start November 5th through like December, mid to late December. We're gonna be doing one-on-ones. We're gonna be reviewing people's portfolios. If you have projects that you want us to view and give you notes on, things like that.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you know, again, thank you for doing that, and thank you for just
No
being
worries.
so giving and helpful to everybody. You know, everybody's trying to make it the way you have.
That's what we have to keep in mind. Everybody's trying to make it, and it doesn't matter how busy you think you are, you always have time to help somebody else. So always reach back and help somebody when you can.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it really is, you know, it does come around.
Oh yeah, it does. It definitely comes around. It definitely comes around.
One other event that we have, you know, for those who are performers or those who are in any situation where they have to record themselves auditioning or answering interview questions, really anything. We have an event on Thursday night with the Career Center and the theater department called The Art of the Self-Tape. And we actually have one of the agent assistants from Gray Talent, who Phil is represented by. We have Noel Henry coming. So that event is The Art of the Self-Tape. It's how to learn how to light yourself properly, how to use a ring light, like the one I have in front of me right now, how to record yourself, how to get the best take, how to get the best audition out of yourself, basically. So if you're an actor, if you're a performer, it's going to be a really great time. It's going to be some really essential information. So
Yes.
if you even want to pop in, say hello, and talk about your self-tape experience, you know, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely. And then, I mean, Great Talent is amazing. I'm so fortunate to be represented by them.
Absolutely. Well, I guess, you know, without further ado, I'd just like to thank you, Phil, and I'd like to thank Anisa and Isaiah as well. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No problem.
And thanks to everybody else for coming and tuning in.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you for some very thoughtful questions. And again, you know, we would love to see you at further Career Center programming. We'd love to have you come in, make an appointment, drop into any of our events, because, you know, you are really the ones who make this stuff happen, you know, who make the conversation interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
You got it.
You hope you have a great week.
You too. Be safe, guys.